The news of the day in America is quite sad. We will push through with Miami football talk here at the Voice of College Football. We appreciate you stopping by. Leave those comments and questions there. We know you're excited about the Canes moving up to 2-0 with a suddenly formidable opponent coming to Hard Rock Stadium, or so we think, based on recent returns against two pretty good opponents. USF. Cam Underwood right next to me, of course, here every Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. The rest of the time, you catch Cam on Twitter. You also catch him at thestateoftheu.com. Cam, how you doing?
Doing well. Just looking to retweet these things, up on social media and whatnot. But yeah, glad to be here, obviously, with everybody. Cam Underwood Sports, State of the U, obviously, leaders in Miami Hurricanes commentary and analysis, always open, always free. Please come on and fan with us. And we have, great things going on, including, I'm happy to announce the return of my good friend, John Michaels, to our contributing group. He does radio in Atlanta, but is a huge, huge Canes fan, was a contributor with us for some years, stepped away for some personal reasons, and is now back. And his first article was the one that just went up today at 5 o'clock, 2 hours ago. So there's that, and there's so much more cooking for you over at stateoftheu.com. Please come on and fan with us, and we are going to have a great time this evening. As we get started, as always, by throwing up the X for Falco to TRX. Appreciate that. And then also to Mark's earlier point, violence and, people unfortunately losing their lives is never a thing that we want to see. So rest in peace to this gentleman and also to those affected by the shooting in Colorado. There was a school shooting today as well, if you did not know that. So for both the named individual on the screen and any of those who were unnamed, we wish the best for them and support for their families in the time of grief.
Yeah, and just underline Cam's statements. Obviously, not to elevate anyone's lives above anyone else, because everyone's lost lives are of equal value, I believe, to God and to us. So we're all created equal. So everyone's loss of life valuable. I am a big Charlie Kirk fan in particular, but so that obviously becomes notable when you recognize the name. Okay. So we'll start with Bethune-Cookman, but the South Florida angle is just really intriguing, obviously, because of what they pulled off the first 2 weeks. But Bethune-Cookman was the anticipated walkover. Mm-hmm. Was there really anything? I know that there's a few guys banged up, and I actually took some notes around here and lost them. But I know JoJo Trader's in that group, and Armando Blunt, and there's one other name I'm forgetting.
Jordan Lyle.
Yes. Jordan Lyle, the running back. Those guys are a bit nicked up.
Yeah, so all three of those gentlemen did miss the game against Bethune. But if there's a game to miss, that's the one. Mario Cristobal did come out on Monday and say that all three of them are back full go for this week and moving forward. I mean, obviously, unless a new injury pops up, but should be full go, so that is good to hear. A thing that caught my attention in his early morning radio appearance on the Joe Rose Show on Monday, Mario said, it'll be a while for Hayden Lowe. And I said, Mario doesn't say anything, right? So for him to say with a name and say it's going to be a while, I don't expect to see him more this season. And then as Hassan Kiab said, in this same update about Lyle and the others at the presser, the second statement of that was also Hayden Lowe is going to be out for the year. Got nicked up a couple weeks ago, tried to kind of play through the injury, but it's come to a point where it's a little bit more serious than initially, evaluated. And so the best thing is to shut him down for the year and get him ready for spring. So that's your, 5-star defensive end from California, Westlake Christian. You don't want to see that. Obviously, I thought that he could have been in line for, major snaps along the defensive line and a very good impact even as a true freshman. But unfortunately, his season is over. Obviously, hope that, he recovers from his injury fully and is full go for the spring and moving forward and everything. But, that's a little bit of a ding. So injury updates for this week. and everything. And also I saw Hassan saying, good evening from Toledo, right down I-75 from Detroit, and everything. So yeah, man, thanks for joining us. And everybody else also, I see that there's pretty good numbers. So I would expect to see good numbers on the likes as well. Hint, 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 hint. So just take a second, hit that like, and we're going to continue rolling.
We also, since I'm thinking of it right this second, and it typically slips my mind for the entire 60 minutes, we've got memberships, so you can become a channel member here at the Miami channel. I will be looking up those channel tier names. I got to say, I don't have them memorized. I'll look them up and let you know. You got 3 tiers, 3 different levels of contributions, and 3 different levels of benefits to you. So support us here at the Voice of College Football Miami, the Kane Show in particular, here Wednesday night by becoming a channel member. So many of you that contribute on a regular basis, just think about it, for much less than what you contribute right here. And we do appreciate the individual contributions that are so kind of all of you to chip in, that you can do that, and just it'd be a per month deal for you as well. So thank you for that. All right. Is there anything meaningful that we can take from the Bethune-Cookman game? Because as you can imagine, I saw 0.
Yeah. Honestly, I think it was really just going out and doing the job. I would have liked to see Miami get off the field a little quicker on defense than they were able to do in a couple of instances. Just allowed a few too many conversions and a few too many first downs in total, as I, like to leave the stats up so I can always reference them. Allowing 14 first downs over the game, I think, against Bethune is just too many. Under 200 yards of offense, cool. Off the top of your head, having not seen anything, hearing 14 first downs, yada, yada. How long do you think, Mark, that Bethune-Cookman held the ball in this game?
14 first downs. I would say that they had it for 28 minutes.
32 minutes.
Oh, shoot. I was going to go that route.
It was just too much.
Probably scored just so quickly that, yeah.
But we didn't really score quickly, is the thing. We were very methodical and just, whatever. But that was going to be my other statement. I wanted to see more. And I don't know where my friend got this phrase from. Not explosive plays, but nuclear plays, 40 yards or more, likely ending in touchdowns. I wanted to see more nuclear plays in this game, but it was going to be very workmanlike. It was going to be very, just pedestrian. We're going to work at a regular pace. We're going to go through, we're going to pop some plays, here and there, and just really get out of there. So yeah, my things were, I just wanted to get them off the field a little bit more, a little quicker than we did. And let me see, Bethune-Cookman, they had drives of, 4 minutes to start the game, but that's, 6 plays. But then 6:47 for a field goal drive, 11 plays, 60 yards, 5:27 ending in a fumble, 5:45 ending in an interception. Why we don't get off the field, get off the field, get off the field. Is just what I would have wanted a little bit more. So yeah, get off the field a little bit quicker, because then we would have been able to play the threes on offense. Luke Nickel didn't get in the game because Emory Williams really only had one possession there, or 2. But yeah, I would have liked some of that. I would like more nuclear plays and everything. But look, I mean, one of hold on, it says 1 of 11 there. I have 1 of 9 on third down on the official stats, but whatever. 0 of 1 on fourth down for them. 3.8 yards a play. Things like that. All these things that we're seeing, good. The 14 of 18 passing, the coaches were asked about in the Monday presser. It was a lot of real quick, just dump off passes, just quick spot routes, little bubble or tunnel screens to the extremities of the defense and everything. But look, the run game for Miami, solid. The pass game, solid. Your 5,500 yards, 31 first downs, a bunch of points. And again, it was never going to be a score, name your score special, because their coach and Mario Cristobal is Raymond Woody. They worked together at Oregon years ago. So he has respect for Raymond Woody. So he's like, I'm not going to go out of my way just to run it up or anything. So yeah, other than that, I think we're good. Got out without any additional injuries. Hayden Lowe was already out and everything. So yeah, pretty good. And on to the next one. Man, there's a lot of people watching. Please hit the like button while you are. Mark Fletcher, 2 tuds. Marty Brown, a tud. Gerard Pringle, true freshman, with his first touchdown that opened like the Red Sea. And if you're waiting for the film forecast tomorrow, Justin DeTavio actually added a section at my request on the play. Shannon Dawson mentioned this play or this scheme 47 times during his presser. I said, well, I know about it, everything, I call it, but Alex Mirabal can really give you a dissertation about this. It's a run scheme called duo. And like every team runs it. It's very famous, but there's actually a breakdown from Justin in there because he was just like, this is foundational for our offense and whatnot. Tim Reynolds from the Associated Press asked a question following up with that on there was a stat somewhere on social media that basically Miami is far and away the team with the most runs inside the tackle in the world of college football. It's like almost 85% of the runs or something like that are between the tackles. And a lot of that is duo, which is where that came from. So you can check that out. So yeah, look, 14 receivers or whatever it was caught passes. Emery goes 8 for 12, Carson 22 of 24. It was what it needed to be. Couple penalties. Miami was 5 for 5 in the red zone, all scoring touchdowns. Penalties are where? Right there. 4 for 50 in that game. You really wanted that to be a little bit cleaner. Kellen Wiley Jr. Shout out to Kellen Wiley in the chat. I meant to mention that. Mans came in, even with the ones, played a good game. This man timed up a blitz so perfectly, it broke the matrix. Like, he was in there so fast, and then so the running back like kind of dove to chip him, and the quarterback ended up scrambling for like 20-something yards because like everybody, like he was in there so fast, it literally like broke the play. It was crazy. But I thought of Mr. Wiley Sr. when that happened. I was like, bro, I know he's going crazy with that, but yeah, 5 tackles and everything. And like there was, TFLs all over the place. Keontae Scott, number 0 on that list, playing the slot. Yo, he was hooping. Like he was doing the thing. And everybody else was as well. So yeah, I'm going to end my soliloquy there, but solid win, great effort, got out scot-free in terms of additional injuries. Onward, upward, and forward we go.
If this is a typical South Florida season, and we're talking about a team that Alex Golish has done a fine job with, not just this season, but 7-6 with bowl wins the last 2 seasons. And if that sounds underwhelming, took over a program that was basically losing every game. There was a 1-11 in there. There were just some awful seasons in there the last few years prior to Golish. He comes in with 7 games, 2 consecutive years, and again, the bowl victories. And then if you're just objectively looking at the start of this season and thinking South Florida is playing Boise State, who acquitted themselves extremely well in the college football playoff last year, as the top group of 5 team and program for as back as we can remember, and a 5 or 6 point favorite on the road at South Florida, and then going to the Swamp to take on what seems to be one of those dark horse darlings that everyone's been talking about the entire offseason as a college football playoff contender, the Florida Gators. And South Florida was going to come through that 2-0. I don't think a whole lot of people would have had that. But this game at the Swamp, Cam, on Saturday afternoon caught my attention. Not that I didn't give it some regard going into it, but I was watching a few other games, and then like late second quarter, must have been one of those other 3:30 games, was a blowout. And I'm like, okay, what's my next option? Boom, I'm going to, this is like 9-3 or something like that at that point. I'm checking this out because I don't have a whole lot of faith that at this point, now that South Florida's made it to almost the break, that they can hang on and we'll see an interesting end. And we sure did.
Yeah, no, it was definitely an interesting game across the board. It definitely sets up for an interesting matchup this week. Obviously, every week is a championship game for Miami. If you're going to be a championship kind of program, contending program, you have to address things in such a way. And I believe that the team is focused and taking that workmanlike approach, especially because you have guys who've been here to get it from the mud. Like Ruben Bain could have went anywhere in America and came and was here on a 5-7 team. You know what I mean? He came after the 5-7 season, still signed, but like he was being recruited through that and everything. So they know what it's like to not really be successful, and hopefully they're focusing. The results first against number 25 Boise State, I picked USF in that game outright because I said I think that is a lifetime achievement award ranking for a player who is no longer there in Ashton Genty. And I think that his career and even his last year warranted that, but no. They're not that team because they don't got that guy. And that was borne out to be true. I didn't think it was going to be 34-7. And then going into Gainesville, that was surprising, especially not because it was not App State and Michigan in 06 or 07. It wasn't Armonte Edwards just dotting them up and, pinball on the scoreboard. They beat them boys up. Like physically in the trenches, in a phone booth. Like, you remember the scene in, Creed 2, when he goes down to Mexico to learn how to box inside? You got to leave your foot in the tire. You got to stay here, right up face to face, and take these body blows and figure it out. Get stronger, but ain't no running away. That was that game. And Florida was there, and USF said, we gonna fight in this with our foot in this tire, in this phone booth, face to face, nose to nose, and we gonna beat y'all. And that was what really stood out to me more than anything. They play hard. They go faster. Like, if they are able to have success on offense, they will go fast. They will go turbo. Like, we know Galesh wants to do that. We saw that against him, last year and everything. This team, they play hard for that man. And that was the thing that stood out. So for me, that's the thing that you have to compete with, the level of enthusiasm that they will bring. They'll play through the echo of the whistle every single snap. And I know that it got a little lopsided last year because we had Cam Ward and the Avengers on offense. But, I mean, up until Miami hit that cover 2 shot route to Sam Brown right before the half, brother, Raymond James Stadium was rocking. It was a 2-point game or something. Like, it was up until like damn near halftime. Like, it was 28.5 minutes in that game that it was real close. And we were able to extend that out, So, this team, even from last year, has our focus. And they have earned that. And they are now ranked in the top 20. You beat number 25 at home. You go on the road to number 13 and do what you did. They deserve that and everything. But, we gotta focus. Falcon and TRX, Miami should be able to handle USF if you contain the quarterback, a thing that Corey Heatherman's defenses have done in the past, even if he was part of the defensive staff at Rutgers. But there, and also last year at Minnesota, they've done really well addressing running quarterbacks. So, and containing to an extent. That's a thing that I'm looking forward to. Miami has struggled with that across many staffs, many coaches, for many regimes. I can think back to 20-something years ago, struggling. So it's not exclusive to a single coach here that running quarterbacks have been an issue. So I'm hopeful that Heatherman is able to have the kind of success and the defenses this week as well. To Paulo's point on that same game, when was the last time Florida State Miami fans were as united as they were after the USF Florida game? another time that Florida lost last year, probably. I mean, look, I'm not necessarily buddy with and going to say, hey, Florida State fans, like, let's come together and, form up like Voltron, my favorite cartoon of all time, by the way. But if we are celebrating on our side and they're celebrating on their side, then the triangulation then happens to happen that way. So, yeah. But, I mean, to the point, USF is look, they have a dynamic quarterback in Byron Brown. They have a rising star in Alex Golesh in the coaching world if he's able to continue this kind of success. And they play hard, especially on defense, which can create problems. So, yeah, we need to be sure that we're bringing a good performance to the field and doing what needs to be done. Hi, Gerald. Hi, Karen.
And Golish had enough confidence in his place kicker to try him from 58 yards. Now, he didn't make it, but they were talking about leading into that kick that he regularly in practice hits him from distance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, most of my takeaways, I start to go somewhere with this game on Saturday, but they're all from the Florida perspective of this was disappointing, this was disappointing. And when I say disappointing, I'm not talking about from a rooting standpoint. I'm talking about from a negative Florida standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like the USF offense was functional. They moved it. Obviously, Brown had the ball in his hands most of the time. I think he threw 36 or 39 passes and carried it 17 or 18 times. So he's got the ball in his hands 55 times out of 70 plays or so. But other than hitting a 66-yard bomb for a touchdown, they weren't exactly tearing it up on offense. They were keeping the ball, but they weren't putting points on the board. And then Florida's defense, having a relatively successful game, punts the ball. Well, what was interesting to me was after the missed 58-yarder by fill in the blank Grammatica. Don't remember his first name because it's one of the Grammatica, like the Borgalises. He might be the last in line. I don't know.
Yeah.
But he misses the 58-yarder. And I'm wondering, how is Florida going to play this? Because their defense is playing well. There's about 2:45 on the clock. So there's too much time to just say, oh, we can just go into a shell. But there's time. You're at a huge advantage from a time perspective that if you can grind out a couple first downs, then the game's virtually going to be over. So how do you play that? Well, they tried to go to the air, and they basically took no time off the clock and had to punt, and they still had South Florida pretty much buried close to the 10-yard line. But then the Florida defense imploded, and guys went Jalen Carter on South Florida, and there we go.
It was all the talk in the press box. Everybody said if they have the shoe with Marco Wilson, and now the spit with I don't even know Buddy's name, but you're gonna have two legendary losses in 4 years because of like things that will be remembered through the annals of history. Like, oh my goodness. So
something like Benton Bet.
Something like that, I guess. But yeah, I was just looking as you were talking. Byron Brown had the ball, 36 passes, 17 rushes. They ran 65 plays, and he had the ball on 53 of them. Like, it's, he is he's not even the straw that stirs the drink. He's the drink for USF. So, yeah, I mean, but there are other guys. Like, they had that little slot receiver, number 38, last year and everything. They have some dudes who can make plays. And again, like all of these teams, especially like I'm going to be honest, the lower tier teams in the state of Florida, there are guys who were not recruited by the University of Miami on that roster. Whether they're from Tampa, whether they're from the Muck, whether they're from Palm Beach, Broward, Dade, Jacksonville, wherever, Orange County, Orlando, wherever, all over the state. I'm sure that there are plenty of them with chips on their shoulders saying, y'all didn't want me, so now I'm going to find a way to inflict this pain of this loss upon ye. So, yeah, we just really need to focus on that. A whole bunch of people watching, please hit the like button while you are here, and I appreciate you stopping by. If it's your first time, welcome. My name is Cam. I manage DailyU.com. His name's Mark.
And the name of the Florida player in question is Brendan Bett. And he did apologize to the USF player. Now, we can question the sincerity of that apology, but who knows?
Yeah. Tyson Tracy going back to Notre Dame game, talking about missed calls and JoJo got hurt on a play. You're not wrong. We're just moving on. Falcon and TRX question: will Alex Golish be the Gators coach next year? Potentially, if things continue trending in both directions the way that they have been for both of those gentlemen. I don't know. I would just like to add another L to his coaching record this week and everything. But yeah, he definitely seems like he has a bright future. It is Nico Grammatica, by the way. Falconer TRX, Miami will beat USF decisively. Just stop the QB run. The line started at Miami minus 16.5 on FanDuel. It started at minus 18.5 on DraftKings and went down to 16.5 when the other books opened. It's gone up another point across the board, pretty much to 17.5 in Miami's favor. The over-under has gone up from 35.5 to 53.5 to 56.5 in the last couple of days. If you can't tell that I've been writing and looking at that recently, I don't know what to tell you, but I have. So yeah, Florida were big favorites last week too. So hey, again, the numbers on paper are not going to win the game. We have to go out and make the plays.
Yeah, the point spread is almost identical to the Florida supposed advantage last week. I think it was 17.5. That's what I had on my sheet.
Bingo. So we're literally at that number right now. So yeah, but again, I think, so offensively, we're going to run the offense that we run. You might see a couple new wrinkles because there were a couple of wrinkles in the Notre Dame game because you have to bring out a little bit more than your standard offense. But we were actually, in that second half when we went 3 and out all those times, able to kind of be a little bit of conservative, which is, Cristobal's want. So we were able to do that. I think that we can hit them with a couple of wrinkles. I think we can look at, obviously film and everything. Todd Orlando's their new defensive coordinator, and he's doing, a great job. They play really, really hard for him. So, we have 3 very talented running backs that we were able to leverage. We have a plethora of wide receivers. I think that the rotation at wide receiver is starting to tighten up slightly. I'm projecting because obviously we had 14 players catch passes last week. That's not going to continue to happen going down into the, like Dalen Upshaw, true freshman, even caught a couple of passes. I don't expect to see more from him the rest of the year, but he was able to get in that game. But yeah, I think offensively, if we handle our business, we'll be able to be okay. But Falconer TRX's multiply stated point, containing the quarterback run game for USF is going to be key. And then just continuing to tackle the football well all across the field. Like, don't miss assignments. Don't start, slipping off of, people like, they're a greased pig out there in the flat or something. Like, be sure to get the ball carrier to the ground. Those are the main things that I'm looking at.
I have not done any kind of analysis on South Florida's defense this year versus what they brought to the table last year, but my goodness, giving up a touchdown to Boise State and then holding Florida to 16 points. So 1 touchdown, I believe. Yes. Somebody had a safety in the game.
USF.
I'm thinking of the wrong game. USF did, obviously, to get to 18. Okay. So they both had the same scoring otherwise.
Yep.
Yeah. So only 1 touchdown given up to 2 what are supposed to be pretty good football teams coming into this one. So the defense must be pretty good.
Yeah, they are. And, they're physical, they're fast, they're violent, and they don't quit. So you got to make them quit. You know what I mean? Like, you have to do that. So yeah, but this is a big game because every game is a big game. Be sure that you're at the stadium. This is our 3rd of 8 home games this year. So even if you're not like Falconer TRX, who won't be because he's going to be on a boys' weekend in Iowa, turn up. Dad's 85th birthday. Happy birthday, Dad. That is a true blessing. But if you are, going to be around, you should go to the game, or you should make your way to the game, and just support the team. I was going to say something else. I forget.
What is capacity at Hard Rock?
70 something now. I mean, I know that they did renovations. Hard Rock Stadium seating capacity. Google says about 60, just over 65,000. Oh, it went from 75 to just over 65 with the renovations.
How many do you expect?
Butts in seats?
Yes.
Somewhere between 55 and 60.
Now, as long as I can find the game, I don't much care who's broadcasting the game. Although if you get, let me back up, an inferior production crew / broadcasting team, then it does take away from the broadcast, of course, a little bit. I was surprised that this game's on the CW.
That's what I was going to say. Yes. The CW is the replacement for your regional sports network, your Jefferson Pilot back in the day, your Bally's Sports or whatever. They have taken that over. So this has to be their dream scenario. Like, this is beyond their wildest dreams.
Yes.
To get Miami #1, but then a USF team that's undefeated with 2 ranked wins and themselves now ranked inside the top 20. I can't tell you if I gave you I don't know what kind of odds I would have to give you for you to take them having another top 20 game on their network in whatever time span you're talking about. Like Paulo said, this is the biggest game in CW history. Like, that's what I was going to say. Crazy, crazy, crazy balls. Sorry, I usually don't have that on. Sorry. So in the how to watch, I did mention, which posts tomorrow, by the way. I did mention that there are also some online options, including free but with ads versions if you do not have access to the CW linear network on your provider of choice. And then always there are people who look for an ancillary streaming site, maybe. While I do not share that information, there are people who hop into my mentions usually during the game who share such items. So if one wants to look, one can go find.
I don't have that information either. I will say this. I'm an old guy. So I've been a cable guy forever, I was pretty much on the cutting edge. Not that it had anything to do with me, but we had cable in our house in like 1978. Like, I didn't know that many people that had cable, like 1978, 79. And my mom was not looking to spend money. It wasn't like she was throwing money down the drain. So I don't know how we ended up with cable. And we had the little box on the top of the TV and the whole deal. But anyway, so I've always been a cable guy. Then I got moved around a little bit, family health issues and so forth a few years ago, and then I dropped cable. And ever since, I've seen no value in picking up cable again. So then I get near football season, and I find myself in this comparison mode of Hulu, YouTube TV, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. What am I going to do? And I always procrastinate. And it's like Thursday afternoon of the Thursday games. And I'm like, okay, what am I going to get? So I have made it through, speaking of the various resources out there, I've made it through 2 weeks of college football and, just take a big game. Clemson, LSU, that opening weekend. I'm sitting there. I'm on YouTube. I got the streaming deal going, and I'm watching LSU and Clemson. I get probably an hour into the game, and suddenly, boop, that's gone. It's been removed, and I'm jumping to and there's about 4 of those options, and I'm able to make it through the game. And this has happened various times. Hulu was not my best friend on Saturday because I ordered them right before the noon kickoffs, and it was easily accessible on my laptop, but my TV was not scanning the QR code and not letting me in.
Yeah, these things happen, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yeah, on the CW. So if you are, watching this now, and you hear that, you're like, is it? Yeah. Or if you look at it, you're like, wait, that is true and accurate. 4:30 p.m. on the CW, a matchup between two top 20 teams from Hard Rock Stadium. So yeah, crazy. Hassan, Kia, Miami is way bigger than their defensive line. Miami will overpower them. Miami needs, you have to physically beat them. Like we've talked about their, you know, fortitude, right? Like they do not back down at USF. You have to sit them down. I think that we have the ability to do that potentially, but Miami will need to do that. Brian Clem, Miami should play really hard. They know how hard USF plays, no overlooking them. No, there is not overlooking them. We can sit here, we can talk about Florida coming up next week, and then Florida State 2 weeks after that, and the team is really going to be and needs to be locked in here. They really do. But to a man, they're talking about that kind of focus, that kind of real intent of not looking backwards to Notre Dame, not looking backwards to Bethune, not looking forward to UF or FSU or whomever, staying in this moment right now, because this is the moment that we're in, and we have to bring our best. This is the Florida box score from the game.
Yeah, just to underline the point that was made about holding up against Miami's offensive line. So this is what South Florida did defensively against Florida's rushing attack.
Mm-hmm.
1 carry over 10 yards in 31 rush attempts. So they did it pretty well. They weren't dominant. Jaden Ball had 5.2 yards per carry, but well contained.
I will say, they only had 1 sack in that game. So those rushes from Lagway are all scrambles. The sack was for 1 yard, so it didn't really change anything. That was my first thought looking at it. So I was like, hold on, let me check before, but I mean, look, starting running back, 5 yards a carry, I'm good. And I mean, with respect to Jacoby Jackson, I think that our 2 and 3 running backs are as good as him, if not better. So hopefully have, those numbers or greater, and everything. Yeah. Look, the matchup is there. I think that Miami is the more talented team. I think they will prove themselves to be the better team, but they will need to go and show and prove. Mr. HD is saying the only reason that USF won is because Billy's an awful coach. I mean, yeah. Talking to TRX with an interesting question. Is a UF win or loss against LSU better for Miami? If you're looking at hater ball of I hate this team and I always want them to lose, yeah, it would be better circumstantially for next week's game if they were to beat LSU and then we beat them and then things continue. So there's a kind of dichotomy there. If you just want to be a hater, and I'm a hater, I'm a Florida hater. Absolutely. You want them to lose. But yeah, you want them to be at 2-1 coming in for next week's game, and then we beat them down and keep moving. That's what you would like to have happen. Do you agree, Mark?
You want to be in the position as Miami to not need any help. And so therefore your rivals can truly be rivals, and you want to see them get their butts kicked every week regardless. And therefore you can just take care of business and be the ACC champions. And it doesn't matter what happened. You don't want to be 10-2 being compared to 4 other 10-2s or 9-3s from the SEC or the Big Ten, and put yourself in the position where you're hoping, well, we didn't want Florida to go 7-5. We needed them to go like 10-2, so they looked better. So our resume looks better.
Nah, totally. Mr. HD said, "Hey, Mark, you need a fire stick. There is a dude in the Miami fan base who can hook it up. Just letting you know." Tyson Tracy, if you have wins, there's 2 potential games for Miami to have game day. Back to back versus Florida, and then at FSU. It's not versus, it's up at. That's potentially true. I would have to look at the full landscape of week 4 to say otherwise about hosting it. But it's possible. Shout out Andrew. What's up, man? Good to see you. Good to see you. I have been derelict. There were so many people who came up to me at the opener, man, like, and spoke to me because they watched this show. So there was a father and son. There were a couple other guys, a couple other dudes from the fan base, Hurricane Ellie, and everything that I have interacted with on social media for so long. And thank you to each one of you. I tried to talk to you, take pictures, do all those things with everybody. It is my honor and privilege to do this and to interact with you all in the wild. I try to shout everybody else out. It's been a couple weeks, so I don't remember everybody's name, and I'm super duper sorry about that. But yeah, man, it was a pleasure to meet you all. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you all in this community for being here. Please take one quick second, go hit that like button. Do it right now. Thank you, and that will help us as we move forward.
And check this out, Cam. This is some good looking stuff right here. So what we've got is Voice of College Football Miami merch.
Ooh.
And we've taken great pains in trying to strike that perfect balance of cost and price point and quality. We did not want to hand out junk to all of you. So please, if you order anything and in any way are not satisfied, please reach out to me, MarkRogersTV at Gmail. But that has yet to happen. That has not happened at all. We probably sold 25 or 30 items totally across the network. And it's all been deemed as high quality stuff. So you've got the hat selections there. You've got the polos and the tees. And then you got your tumblers and mugs as well.
And koozies for those, for your adult beverages or regular beverages, whatever you want to, Okay.
So that's at vocfb.com, vocfb.com. You'll see shop at the top, and then you've got a list of 2025 teams, Miami included.
All right. Well, hey, today I learned. I love to see that. So yeah, hop on that. Everybody. Bone Daddy 0412. Big fan, Cameron Mark. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. How much of an impact do you think JoJo Trader makes in this game? Go Kings. I don't know what kind of impact he individually will have. Even though it's early in the season, I think that we are seeing number one on the depth chart and the priority list for throwing the ball is CJ Daniels. Number 2, Malachi Toney. Number 3 through whatever, everybody else. But yeah, I think that Daniels and Toney have really separated themselves at the top of the list. Trader is very talented. If he is healthy, which is the supposition and statement from Mario Cristobal, then I think that he can have an impact for sure. Having another talented player out there would be great. And I think that JoJo Trader is very talented, and this would be a lovely time for him to really put a foot down as a marker of, hey, I am one of the dudes up here with CJ Daniels and Malachi Toney. It's the three of us. So bulldozing his way into that conversation. Like, I don't think he has as many catches right now as Keelan Marion. Now, I know that we're targeting Keelan Marion on a lot of like quick tunnel screens and things to try to get him into space because he's an All-American returner from last year and has been this close to breaking a couple already this year. I really think that he can take one or more kicks to the house and those screens as well. But yeah, having JoJo Trader would be, and having JoJo look like JoJo would be a big addition. So I think that he can. And this is have an impact in the game, and this is an opportunity for him to do so. Miami, orange and green. Not sure if anything was spoken about it, but the MacGuffin champion is on the line in this game. We actually have a piece on this at stateofview.com by Rob Weaver. Look at that. So go over there, check it out. He makes a great case for all these things. I forget what the definition of a MacGuffin is, but it's like a championship thing of like whatever. Yeah, so it is a thing that I know people talk about and things like that. And one of our other contributors wrote about it with great detail, which I skimmed as I was writing something else on the side. But you should go check it out. And I'm going to go check it out fully. Stateofview.com. It's up there right now for free.
So my first thought is that was connected to some kind of Florida state championship, but there's too many more games to be played, I would think, for that to be on the line yet.
It is. You know what? Let's actually go look together. MacGuffin champion. What is MacGuffin? Generally speaking, a MacGuffin is an object, device, or event that is necessary to a story plot line, but in itself unimportant or irrelevant. Think of the Holy Grail of King Arthur legend, not Monty Python. The Holy Grail was pursued by Arthur and essential to the plotline of the journey, but the actual Grail was never revealed. So, yeah. So, something like that. And there is even more. I read that directly from Rob Weaver's piece, so you can do that. And yeah, so it's a thing that's a thing. So, yeah, we have that on the line as well. I will say also, as well as I'm looking at week 4, in terms of game day, quick perusal, Syracuse at Clemson, absolutely not. Texas Tech, Utah, nooner. That's going to be your big noon kickoff game because it's the noon Fox game. South Carolina, Missouri, Miami, Florida, Auburn, Oklahoma, 3:30 ABC. They usually go for the 7 o'clock game. So
Texas
if they were going to
Tech and Utah is the Fox noon game. Really?
Unless I saw that wrong, let me go back up.
It's not an impossibility, but
Texas Tech and Utah.
So there must be nothing going on in the Big Ten that week.
So I think it comes down to Florida at Miami or South Carolina at Missouri, because those are the options for the late window. Those games will be placed either 7 o'clock ESPN or 7:30 ABC. It's literally, I'm looking at the list on FB schedules right now. It's those two games that will be split there. So it's reasonable that one of those would get game day. So to the earlier point, now that I actually looked, it is possible that Miami could be featured in consecutive game day games across 3 weeks, because we have a bye week after Florida, but you know what I mean. Factory TRX, hey, we should have a contest to see which fan base buys the most merch. Well then, links in chat. Click the link. We're Miami. We're winners. Let's go win.
Like it.
1 milligram of epinephrine. Hey, Cam, I tune in anytime you're talking Canes here with Beast or anywhere else. Man, I appreciate that support, honestly and truly. Thank you so very much. It makes me happy that, we're putting out good content, and then I myself, in multiple instances, am still offering good content and great value. It's for the little price of free, but engaging content and commentary for you guys. So yeah, thank you for the support from you and everybody. Bone Daddy, pleasure to answer your question. Going on deployment soon, so not possible to meet, but hey, thank you for your support. My cousin is in the Army. He and his lovely wife met at West Point and everything. So for you and all of you who are serving or have served, thank you so very much. I know that my boy AJ Paunal, he popped in last week, but he's deployed currently, so he's unable to do so. So I get it, totally, man. Yeah, so thank you, honestly and truly. Paulo, interesting question. When do we begin to look at UF recruits to flip? Miami has been looking at recruits to flip all along the way because we lost a lot of recruiting battles through the summer. So that time is actually in the rearview mirror. We've already, been talking to dudes and things. I'm not too sure what their commitment list is looking like. So we're going to do some terrible podcasting. I'm so very sorry, but I'm working in another tab right here, and I'm going to navigate my way over to Florida's current commit list. And this is always it went quickly this time. Cool. Cornerback from Windermere, don't want him. Kendall Gervil from Fort Myers is a big defensive lineman. I would kick the tires there. There's a nice edge from Duncanville, Texas. Would look into that. They got a lot of dudes from a lot of different other places. I mean, linebacker Malik Morris from Lakeland, maybe, but that's, Polk County is very, strong Gator territory. Justin Williams from Gainesville Buckholz. Gainesville. Quarterback from Tampa Jesuit. Nah, I like our quarterback better. Chancellor Campbell, CJ Hester. To be perfectly honest, as I look here now and remember back to when I was going over all these things, there's not really many that I want from this list. To be perfectly honest, I think the players that we're really pursuing are committed elsewhere. Maybe a couple that I would kick the tires on, but like I think that they would be plan B, C, or D flip candidates in my perfect world of recruiting. But not everything happens in my perfect world, unfortunately. So, scroll down a little bit more.
That's 5 top 150 players.
Yeah, right. That one, Hezzy Kent, Brunswick, Georgia, the gigantic 6'6", 6'7", 300+ pound tight end. That's one that I skip right past. That would probably be, if I were to get anybody, I would probably look there. But again, we're going after other dudes. So like Marquez Daniel from Tuskegee, Alabama, Booker T. Washington, not Miami, Booker T. Washington. 6'5", 200-pound receiver. I would rather go after Calvin Russell, who's committed to Syracuse. You know what I mean? Of the 6'5", 6'6", 200-pound-ish, blue chip wide receivers. I have not watched Marquez Daniels highlights, so I'm not going to say that Calvin Russell is demonstrably better. But even with all things being equal, I would prefer the local kid, which is one of the recruiting rules, which I probably... No, the redesign of the website doesn't have pinned articles anymore. That literally just hit me right now. So those things that we used to have pinned up there are... Oh, man. That literally just hit me. Oh, my God. You guys saw that live. Okay, I had to figure that out. Anyway, the recruiting rules are still up. I mean, in the archives of the website. But yeah, anyway. So yeah, all things being equal, I would prefer a player who's not committed to Florida at a similar position, a similar build, and similar kind of skill set, as opposed to the one who is committed to Florida. So, yeah. But like Miami is definitely going to have to be in the business of going and flipping some dudes to get the kind of class that we want. Because you have to have strong high school classes and augment that with the sprinkling of seasoning from the portal. It cannot be the foundation to the building of your team.
I'm not up on the SEO approach and strategy of websites, but would you then possibly, tweak that a little bit with the transfer portal component there, and then you repost it?
It's a thing that I've thought about, but yeah, I will have to get that'll be a larger. I mean, because it was like a 9-part thing, so it'll be a longer piece, as a series and feature and everything. So I could potentially look at doing something, in this off season of, the new recruiting rules or whatever. It's a thing that I've been thinking about. So, yeah.
Doreen, thank you so much for being here. Doreen is all over the place for us at the Voice of College Football, and she reposted this stream. Thank you so much for that, Doreen.
Nice. Okay. Well, I mean, on top of that, don't really have much else for you guys. Please be sure that you're at the stadium, 4:30 Saturday. If you're unable to make it, it's on the CW. Again, the how to watch article, I basically copy and paste and update the information every week, so you have it every Thursday on stateoftheu.com. So please go over there. It'll have all the information in one great place for you. So you have all the things, including the stuff for potential online streaming, legal and free for it and everything. So yeah, you can go and check that out, and so much other great content. Please, go and leave comments, interact with the feed. Welcome back John Michaels to our contributing crew. Jordan Lopez doing some great stuff. His matchups of the week drop tomorrow. Also, some really engaging things. I already looked at that. So you have that and so much more. So again, stateoftheu.com is the website. Please come on and fan with us. I'm on Twitter at Underwood Sports for the website, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at the State of the U. And it's been my pleasure to talk to you guys. So hopefully we'll be back here next week talking about a win and looking forward to the Florida game. And Falcon TRX says it is Parents Weekend at UM, so tons of people should be there. And I believe that, again, since this is another in-state game for USF, they're going to take the ride down I-75 and then, across Alligator Alley. So I would do this. I mean, like, if the roles were inverted and like Miami was the upstarts and USF was the the legacy program, and we were going up there, and yeah, you take that ride. So, I mean, they took a short ride, up to Gainesville. They're going to take a little bit of a longer ride down here. I do think so. Yeah, we should be ready for that. And all the parents who are going to be at UM, or around, yeah, please come on out, support the team, be loud. Even if you're loud from somewhere else, be loud in your living room. Do all of those things, and we will check in with you guys next week. So, but before we go, like the video, subscribe to the channel, consider becoming a channel member, and then we will check you out next week. Aaron Frazier, CW is free over the air for those who still have an antenna on the roof. This is true also. There are many ways for you to get this game for free, but the best way to get it is live and in person at Hard Rock Stadium. I'll see you guys there. We'll see you next time.